Hello, this is Duncan Welder with RISC, and after our last video on the VTA Learner Supervisor functions, we had a ton of questions about the new instructor functions, especially around being able to add a training session to the schedule without having to go through an administrator, as well as adding students to the roster, and the different ways of doing that. Whether we scan in a QR code or we scan a barcode, we type in their name, type in their ID, use a Prox card reader. So we'll take a look at all three of those, well, four of those options, three electronically and one manually, and take a look at some of this new power that's in the instructor functions. I'm just in a demo system here, so I'm going to move from my learning portal down to my instructor options. Your menu options may be in a different order than mine. And we come in to have two tabs, right? So we've got schedule and history. Schedule is just those sessions that have not yet been moved to history. So you see some of these may have a date that's passed, but I can still go in and take that roster, move it to history. We'll take a look at that. And then I have my actual history tab, which will show me over a period of time. So this is set to the last 12 months. The classes that I've taught. So if I update that the last 5 years, that list continues to grow. And I have the ability not to add students to those rosters, but if I hit go and take a look at this accounting 2 course, you can see I already have a couple people that are on the roster there. My little add button is grayed out, but I can still send email to those students. I could go in and open my course documents as well if I wanted. So I'm going to back up to my schedule because that's really where the fun stuff happens. First, if I want to add a brand new session, right, I can just hit the add button at the top of this window. The window comes up to let me pick a class site and a course. Normally I'm working inside my own site, so it will show me a list of all of the courses that I'm set up in back office as an instructor for. So if I want to schedule something like another one of those accounting 2 classes, I can pick it out. I can go through and take a look at the rooms that are set up in back office. So I'll say we're going to do this in room 201. I can set dates. So say I didn't pay specific attention to when the length of this class, but I'm going to say that it's 8 a.m. On the 3rd until let's see, we'll go to the 4th at 5 p.m. Okay, so picked out some times, and I can set my class roster and submit, and there I get this brand new session of Accounting 2 that's populated in my grid there. I set my roster max to 4, so I have 4 open seats. And then if I look at my pull down here, I have my options of changing the status to canceled maybe, or to shut the enrollment status. I can move that session to history, or I can view the roster. Now I'm going to hit go on view roster, and as you're perfectly aware, I don't have anyone here, so we just added this session, and wanted to use this then as an opportunity to take a look at those different ways of adding folks. So simple, right here through Learner, I can go in and click the plus there at the top of the roster grid, and I'm not going to remember names, but I can put in I'm sorry, not going to remember IDs, but I can put a name in here. So if I want to select Lisa Boss, I'll type Boss, and it says student added. And then if I want to grab Jacques, I'm going to hit Peterman and add him. So now I've got a couple people on that roster. I'm going to close, and you'll see their names and IDs, what their status is, and any documents for that particular person, assuming that instructors can view those documents. Now, the other couple ways of getting data inside this grid would be to scan attendees, and we can do that a couple different ways. I can just plain scan a barcode, kind of the old style method here. So this looks like a wireless barcode reader. I have one here that's very similar on the desk, but wired into my USB port, and I have a barcode for a student. So if I click scan attendees, and I'm just going to grab that barcode, and you hear my clicks. The student is not on the roster, but I can go ahead and submit that and add him to the roster. Oh, good. Student was successfully added. And again, that's just using a barcode. And a barcode's just a font, and that little reader is just an input device. So essentially, if I have a barcode that equates into a number, like a badge number or an ID number, I can configure those to use for scanning. The second method that I wanted to show here is using prox cards. So if I have a, this is actually the exact USB prox card reader that I have here plugged in on the desk. It was the whopping total of $10.99 with free shipping. So not a big investment to get into one of those, especially if you already have proximity badges for getting into doors, because essentially each one of those prox badges matches an ID that we can load into VTA back office to associate it with a person. And if you want to get something fancier than this, right, we could even go with one of these bigger and certainly more expensive kind of built-in units as you're walking into a training center, so everybody scans in to get credit. Actually looked at this and had this in place for a group down in the Caribbean here a while back. So anytime somebody went into the building, they were counted as being there for training. So just the way they scanned in. So you get a more complex integration there or something. Like I said, super simple and easy. And then essentially what I'm going to do again is scan. And this time I'm going to put that badge on the scanner there, and it just reads it in automatically. I didn't to push any buttons. Now in this case, it is my student isn't found, and I won't worry too much about that. But conceptually, go ahead and scanning them in just exactly the same as the barcode. Now I'm going to go ahead and close that window because the final way, I don't even have to worry about being inside my learner window anymore, is really to do that scan with a mobile app. So in this case, I'm going to use a QR code. There are handheld scanners that can read QR codes now, not just barcodes, but they tend to work really well on phones. So here I have my iPhone and my Instructor app, and I'll select that course, go to my Scan Attendees button, and now I have the ability to scan. It says the student is not currently on the roster, but went ahead and updated that person. So again, there are lots of videos available for the RISC mobile apps for iOS and Android. So I will leave you to those, and I will put a link at the bottom of this video when it's posted. So again, looking at instructor functions, now if I want, I could go in and send an email to those folks that were registered, or if I want, or when that class is over, like I'll take this Your Rights as an Employee course here, and if I move it to history, it's going to allow me to add students during the move to history process, which is convenient again. And now I'll just for fun, go ahead and stick in welder, and then I will say move to history. And the big thing that you notice is once it's moved to history, it shows up on, in this case, my transcript, because I was on that session. It's out of my schedule, and I can see it over here in my history. So wanted to just spend a minute going through, and I appreciate the opportunity to discuss the instructor functions in Learner. If you have any other questions or there's anything that you ever need, don't hesitate to reach out. My email is duncanw@risc-inc.com. My Twitter handle is DuncanWIV, and of course you can always reach us at https://risc-inc.com. Again, Duncan Welder, thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.